everyone, and welcome back. It's Mindy here today for Lawn Fawn, and it's getting to be that time of the year where I need to start thinking about treat boxes for the end of the year for the teachers and the aides. So what I came up with was using the scalloped treat box die and creating a schoolhouse treat box. I'm really happy with how this came out, and they're really easy to mass produce. So I have 2 sheets here of chili pepper cardstock, so I'm going to die cut these out. That'll leave me with 2 pieces here, so that's my sides of my boxes. Next, I'm going to take some cilantro cardstock, and I'm going to take the grassy border and die cut that out twice. I'm going to have this go around at the bottom of my box just to add a little interest to it. Next, I'm going to be using the winter house add-on for that scallop treat box. I found this had a lot of really great elements on here that I could use to create a schoolhouse. So I'm starting off with a window and then the door. And this door is really cool because one of the sides is not going to cut out all the way, so you can kind of have something peeking through the door if you wanted to. So I'm running this through my die cutting machine. I'm just using the lawnfawn white cardstock, and I'm creating 4 windows and 1 door. Next, I'm going to take those back pieces, and this is going to make it look like the windows are lit up. So I'm going to take the little one there, that little shape off on the right, that's going to be for my window. And I also die cut one for my door, and this is using sunflower cardstock. Then for the roof, I'm going to be using the storm cloud cardstock. So I'm going to take that roof piece and die cut that twice. I also wanted to have a little door handle, so I did also cut a little circle that's on this die set and create that for my door. And then I did go ahead and cut out a little window topper for my door too. Next, I'm going to start assembly, and this is actually how I would be doing this when I'm going to be creating multiples. I'm probably going to create close to 20 of them in all. And this would be my assembly line. I would do all of my die cutting first, then I would come in and do all the gluing. So I'm just gluing that door on top of the yellow piece there. That's for, and see, it kind of peeks open. So you want to make sure when you're gluing that down, you're just going on that outer edge of the door. Otherwise, your door won't open. The window you don't have to worry about, but that door you do have to watch out for. And then I'm also adding that little circle that I had cut out for my doorknob. Next, I'm going to bring in some artichoke ink, and I'm just going to ink blend my grass just a little bit. I did trim these down to fit the side of my box, so I'm going to have a piece on each side, and then I'll have a smaller piece that's going to go in the back. And one of the things that really made this look like a schoolhouse was where I placed my door. I actually had created one where I had the door on the side of the box, the long end, and it just didn't look right. So when I actually put my door on the short end, which you see in my pictures, that really helped turn this into a schoolhouse. So I'm just adding a little bit of that artichoke ink on there just to have a little bit of contrast. And then I can come in and start putting my box together. So this die, when it cuts these treat boxes out, it does have scored lines on here. So I am just going to go through, I'm going to fold all of those score lines down. This top one here, I didn't want to push down quite yet because I wasn't sure how I wanted it to sit for my box. But I did fold in those 2 flaps. That's what is going to attach our box together. And then I'm using my bone folder to crease those edges and just make that really nice crisp line. When making treat boxes, I have learned to use cardstock, especially if I'm going to give them to kids. It's just easier to transport because the cardstock is really nice and durable. It's solid. It really holds a treat box together well, but you could definitely also use pattern paper, which would be super cute depending on what you want to create. But for the schoolhouse, this chili pepper cardstock worked perfectly, and I know I'm not going to damage them when I'm transporting them from my house to the school. So just folding those score lines, making sure they're creased really well, and then reinforcing those creases. Once I have all of those folds done, I'm going to take some double-sided tape, and I'm going to line this on those flaps. So I'll have 4 of them that I'm going to do here. And I really love using the double-sided tape because it really holds the boxes together well. You could certainly also use regular adhesive tape runner, but I just find the double-sided tape is such a great hold for these. So once I have those kind of burnished down, I push down really well, making sure that they're stuck to the cardstock. I'm also going to take that double-sided tape and I'm just going to line it to one of those bottom panels. That way, when our boxes are going to be connected together by the flaps, it's also going to hold that bottom together for us. Now, one thing that I added to the box, which I've actually never done before, is I'm taking foam tape and I'm adding that to the grass and the window and the door. And that adds a little bit of dimension to the box, and I thought that turned out super cute. Being these are really simple because I want to mass produce. So just adding that little bit of extra with the dimension of the foam tape just really helped kind of bring that out a little bit more. Now for the roof piece, there is a score line on there and you can crease that down all the way to attach to the box. I'm not going to attach that very bottom piece. I just kind of want it overhanging. So I also add the foam tape right to that top part where my roof is going to go. It was just easier to add the foam tape there than actually on the roof. And once I have that done, I'm going to bring out a ruler and I want to be able to have my windows about the same place on each side. Now, you definitely don't have to do this. I don't think anybody is going to notice if your windows are higher on one side than the other, but this was really quick to do. It didn't take me that much longer. And then once I have an idea of where I want them, I can remove the backing of the foam tape and then just add those windows in, leaving a little bit of space in between. And this is really nice to have the boxes lined up this way because I can also line up my grass to make sure that they're about the same placement on each side. Like I said, I know nobody else will notice, but it's just sometimes the little details that really help make a treat box special. So removing the backing of the foam tape for my grass and adding that to the bottom so it's right under the windows. And then also going ahead and adding my door right away. And I did make sure, like I said, to leave that open so I could always have a little critter or a teacher popping out of that door if I wanted to. And then the smaller grass piece will go on the other end of the box. So now I'll go ahead and remove the backing of the foam tape so I can add my roof to the top there, making sure to leave room so that handle still can fold over when I close it. And then we can start the assembly. So I'll go ahead and remove the backing of the double-sided tape and just showing you here how that's going to line up. So I'm going to attach my bottoms together. I like to start it out that way, just kind of folding up a little bit so that it's flush with the ends. And then I can remove the backing of that double-sided tape for the side panels as well. And what I'm going to do each time I remove a piece or attach one of those tabs, I'm taking my bone folder and I'm just giving that a really good push to make sure they're really adhered together and they're not going to come apart. And then finishing off on this last flap to complete the treat box. And I'm just really happy how this turned out and that it looks like a schoolhouse. Such a great end of the year project to give to teachers or anybody. You could give these to the kids in school too. That would be a great end of the year present as well. And then you can fill them with any treat that you want to do. So here's just a quick look at the entire treat box, the sides and the front. Now I was thinking the front looked a little plain and I still needed to add a sentiment to it. So I'm going to bring in the How You Been star add-on and I'm going to stamp the sentiment here that says you are a star. I know that doesn't really go with necessarily a schoolhouse, but I really wanted to kind of show my appreciation to the teachers and the aides, and they are totally rock stars. So I really was happy with this sentiment. I'm just going to stamp this out actually on some scrap storm cloud paper that I had. You can see I cut my roof from this. I lined that up and I'm just inking that up with the lawnfawn clear embossing ink. And then I'll go ahead and sprinkle on some of the white embossing powder, just kind of lightly tapping off. and I can go ahead and heat set that with my heat tool. Now, once that heat embossing has cooled off a little bit, I like to take a Swiffer cloth and just rub over that area. That just removes any of the excess powder that may be left there from the anti-static powder tool. And then I'm going to take the Everyday Sentiments banner die, and I'm going to die cut this out so it'll have those really cute uh, banner edges to each side. So once I run it through, I'm going to realign that on the other end, and then it'll just be a perfect size fit for the front of my box. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the lawnfawn liquid glue to add that sentiment right above my schoolhouse door, and that will finish off my schoolhouse treat box. I'm really excited with how these turned out, and I hope you enjoyed it too, and I cannot wait to give these to the teachers and aides. Thanks for joining me, and have an amazing day.